a conversation between Gene Ferguson Clift and Frank Ferguson. Frank, where were you born?
Where was I born? 306 13th Street, Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn? Was that near Utica Avenue?
What?
Is that near Utica Avenue?
No, that's in South Brooklyn, they call it.
South Brooklyn. What's your earliest memory?
My grandmother, I don't know how old I was, but I remember her. She was very stout and short.
I think Mother told me she was like 5 feet tall, weighed about a couple of 100 pounds. Do you remember your grandfather at all?
No.
Robert? I don't remember him at all.
Wait a minute. My grandfather. Hold on a minute.
Okay. So you don't remember him at all? Where did you go to school?
It was 4th Avenue at that time. I don't know what 4th Avenue. I don't know what street, but it was 4th Avenue. Also down there, always just there were quite a few big empty lots, and they used to have the circus down there every year. I always used to sneak into the circus.
Was it Ringley Brothers?
Ringley,
the big one?
Yeah.
The big one. How interesting.
Used to come down there. There used to be sort of a railroad yard there, too. And as I remember it, the trains used to pull in, and all the animals used to unload off the trains, and the big tent car would come there, and also all that stuff.
Did you watch them put the tent up?
Yeah.
Yeah. They had
Play hooky from school to watch the tent go up.
They used to put a tent up in Tyler for Ringley Brothers, Barnum and Bailey. They don't anymore.
No.
And we took the kids over there to see the circus and see the tent, mainly to see the tent because it was a dying thing. Do you remember when your mother married your stepfather?
Not exactly. I don't know. I don't think it was a church wedding. I can't remember a church wedding. I think it was just a civil wedding, I guess you'd call it.
Do you remember there being people there or anything about it?
No.
I don't remember anything about it. What do you remember about Uncle George, your father's brother, as a young man when you were a little boy?
Well, they lived out in what they call Flatbush. And every so often, Mother used to go to Flatbush to see Aunt Agnes and Uncle George. He was a printer.
Mm-hmm.
And they had 2 children, as I remember, Spencer and Margie.
Yeah, Margie. I remember them. When did Agnes die? Do you
I don't
remember?
know the date.
No. Do you know,
She died from cancer.
oh, did she? Do you know what your grandmother died of?
No.
No. Okay. Do you remember when Bruce and Jack were born?
Yeah. Bruce was born on Utica Avenue, yeah? Utica Avenue and Church. we had a hardware store. He was born over the hardware store. I think the number was 1072. Euchre Avenue. I'm not sure the number. And Jack was born a couple of years later, same place.
Okay. And then I was born on Hillside Avenue.
He was born in out in Long Island, more or less, they call it, the
Yeah.
Hollis,
Yeah. Up on Hillside.
on Hillside Ave. I don't know the number.
And I was...
866 seems to stick in my mind.
What number?
866.
866. Was it over a butcher shop or over the
No.
hardware store?
The hardware store. We had a hardware store there.
Okay. Somebody keeps
We
telling
looked up-
me it was
we
over a
looked-
butcher shop.
Butcher shop was next door.
Oh, okay.
Hoffman, his name was.
Okay.
Hoffman, the butcher.
What was it like for you to all of a sudden have a brother or two brothers?
Somebody to take care of.
Did you like it or
Yeah.
yeah? Were you jealous of them?
No.
Did you how much care did you take of them?
Well, Bruce, I practically took all care of him.
What was Mother doing?
She worked in the hardware store.
Okay. And when Jack came, she same
She
thing?
still worked, but not as we had a fellow working for us. And what was his name? I can't remember his name. Anyhow, we had a fellow working for us. Well, he was, I guess he was about 18, 19 years old at that time. I know we got right after we closed up the store, he got a job for the telephone company. And from what last time I heard, Johnny Gilshan was his name. He was a big shot in the telephone company.
Oh, for goodness sake.
I often wanted to look him up, get a job from him.
How old were you when Bruce was born?
How old was I when Bruce was born?
About 12?
I don't know. to
Let's
tell you
see.
the truth. I would judge about 12, I guess, because
Okay.
I worked in the hardware store too, but Dad and I didn't get along too good, so every so often I'd quit and I'd go down and work in Hessian's in the garage.
Yeah, but this was later, right? You must have been older than 12 when you did that.
Well, yeah, I guess so. When I was 15, I had a chauffeur's license.
And what did you do, deliveries for the hardware store, or what did
Yeah.
you do? Yeah. What did you drive?
We had a Ford 1-ton truck. We had two trucks. We had like a van. Those days it wasn't a van. It was, well, not as a van as you call it today. It was a small truck, all enclosed, and we had a big truck. We used to carry sash-brakes and ollie combs and bridle lines and all that sort of stuff.
I've got a picture of a truck that sounds something like that. I wonder if it's it. I have to look and see. You're on it. You're in it or on it or something, but you're in the picture. What did you deliver?
Oh, sash rates, bridle lines. I delivered stuff to builders we had. We did a big builders business there
Is this in Brooklyn?
in Brooklyn,
In Brooklyn?
Utica Avenue. Actually, that's Flatbush. That was Flatbush. Because that's a part like this. When Dad let me see now. Let me think. We had two hardware stores. First we had a hardware store we opened up on Church Avenue. At least my father, I shouldn't say we. They had opened a hardware store on Church Avenue. Yeah, and then we were there, I don't know how many years, quite a few years I guess. And we built our own hardware store around the corner with a man that we knew. He was an electrician, and his brother was a baker, Barnsby, and the man's name was Berry. And I got quite friendly with his son, Reginald Berry. He only had one eye, he had a glass eye. The one hardware store on Church Avenue, we used to be across the street from the baseball field, and during the winter we used to get it flooded and had ice skating on it. And all the different people used to come to the hardware store around the big pot-belly stove we had to put their ice skates on. And they skate across the tracks to the baseball field.
Was this church in Utica Avenue?
Church in Utica Avenue.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? What kind of building did they build? Was it a two-story building?
Two-story brick building.
And what then, did you have a bakery, an electrician, and a hardware store, or?
There was two stores actually. Hardware store, and next door was a bakery. Had a regular baker's oven they built into the building.
Be interesting to go back and see what's there now.
Yeah. I know, I don't know what's in the bakery store, but I know the Department of Sanitation took over the hardware store. Of course, after my father went to Europe to open up a saloon. Before that, he sold it to a Mr. Young, big tall man, a Jewish man, but very tall, and a little short wife, and she's no more than about 4 foot, I guess. Talk about Mutt and Jeff. And I worked for Mr. Young for a while too. I also had a room there.
How long were they gone to England? How long did they stay gone?
I don't think they were too long, about two years.
Were they gone 2 years? I knew it was at least a year, but I didn't know they were gone that long. Goodness. And you worked for Mr. Young most of that time?
Mr. Young in the hardware store. And then, well, I went in business myself, and I worked for Hessian. That was the garage, gas station garage down on Utica Avenue and Linden Boulevard.
Oh, you were about 18 then. You were real young, yeah.
And I went in business myself. I still have one of the cards from I had printed. I should show it to you sometime.
Okay.
Jack of all trades.
How did you get around? Did you still have a truck or something?
Yeah, I bought well, I guess I made pretty good money because I bought a brand new Chevrolet Coupe. I never forget that coupe. I walked into a store down on Flatbush Avenue, and the guy was just closing up. I says, I want that car. I like it. That's why I had to come back tomorrow, and then I'll give you the price. And I'm like, no, I'll take it now. So I bought the car cash.
Wow.
I remember that.
And you must have been doing pretty good.
He was so surprised. I left him with his tongue hanging out.
Well, you had a motorcycle one time.
Yeah.
And
Mother made me give it up.
okay, I can remember hearing tales about you took it all apart and it was down in the basement or something and you had to put it
No,
all
that
back
was-
together again.
They used to build racing cars.
Okay.
I used to take them all apart and take them down the cellar. Take the motor all apart. Take the motor down the cellar and take it all apart and clean it and whatnot, fix it. Then put the motor back together again, and I used to pull it up again. In the hardware store we had a ramp my father had made to take nails, keg of nails down the cellar. These big kegs, 100 pounds of nails. We used to slide them down this ramp. So I used the same ramp to slide my motor down and pull it up again.
Well, when you got it all put back together again, what did you do with it?
I put it in the car and raced it.
Oh, you
I
raced
made the
it.
racing car.
Okay, you didn't sell it or anything, you
No.
raced it.
Well, I did after a while. After I snapped it up a couple of times, put it back together again, I'd sell it. Anybody around the neighborhood wanted to buy it. Kids were all crazy for those then.
Well, how old were you when you were doing that?
I don't know.
You must have been early teens or something.
Yeah, it was because I can't remember how old I was when Dad went to England. I must have been I was about 18, 19, I guess.
Well, they were back. I was born here.
Yeah.
And you were 19 when I was born. So that if they were gone 2 years, it had to be somewhere around 17 and a half when they left.
I was 19 when you were born?
Yeah, because there's not quite 20 years between us.
Yeah.
So they stayed, and I know she got pregnant with me in England.
Yeah.
And was, I think, pretty pregnant when she got back. I think I was born.
When?
I think I was born not too long after they got back.
Yeah.
I know she said something about I could have been born aboard ship or something,
Yeah.
something like that. Why did she make you give up the motorcycle?
Well, some friends of mine got killed on a motorcycle. We used to take trips upstate, whole motorcycle clubs, not a whole club, about maybe 5 or 6 of us, something like that. And one of the, I can't remember his name, was in the club, and there was about 30 of us riding together. One here and one up here. And coming around a turn, this fella, his motorcycle out-skidded, skidded out that way. And this guy ran over him and killed him.
Oh, boy.
So, of course, my mother heard that.
Sure.
Asked me to give it up, so I did.
Tell me about when Dad would lock you out of the house and Mother would let you back in.
Yeah. Well, Dad had built a sign. It said hardware on it, and he built it out of pipe and meter 3-inch leader pipe. He built it on the side of the building, like, and I guess you call it, built it vertical. And it was like made like a step ladder. So Dad had locked the door downstairs and locked me out.
Oh, this is when you were supposed to be home at a certain time and
Yes.
you didn't get there?
Yeah. I don't know why. I didn't drink or anything like that. So, anyhow, I had to be home at a certain time. So he would lock me out. So Mother would go in my bedroom, which was right over the hallway going upstairs, and unlock the window. So I get a step ladder. That's the time when we had policemen either run on bicycles or by horse, and they had not a police station, but what would you call it? A little building big enough to hold a policeman, a desk, and a chair. And his horse or bicycle be around the back. They had a little place for the horse, and it was in bad weather, he could go in there. So anyhow, I knew all the policemen. So I'd go there, borrow the ladder, bring it over, and put it alongside the front door, climb up the ladder, and get a hold of the sign, and just one over the other, and get in the front window that way, and the cop would come over and bring the ladder back.
Oh, dear. Well, did Dad ever question how you got in the house?
Sure.
And what would happen then?
Well, one time he fixed the windows that Mother couldn't open it, couldn't unlock it or something or other. So I managed to we had a warehouse in the back of the shop, which were tin sheds, one tin shed, another tin shed, like that, but all went together. So I managed to get, we also had a garage back there for the car. So I managed to get on the roof of the one shed, and from that I go and get on the main roof of the building. And from that main roof we had what would you call it? We had an air shaft, and on top of the air shaft we had a cover, like a trap door. And I managed to open the trap door and climb down. Of course, I was young then. I could drop down about 4 feet without anybody hearing me, and I'd be in the house.
Did he stop that up too?
No.
You never found that? Oh, my. Well, how old were you when you got shipped off to Canada?
Well, let's see, how old was I? I don't think I was any more than about 8 or 9 years old.
Well, how old were you when Mother and Dad married? I always thought you were about 10.
I don't know, Jane, really.
What I'm going by is I always thought Mother had been a widow for 10 years before she remarried.
She wasn't with her at the time?
That's what I understood.
I don't know, Jim.
Anyway, you were awfully little when they sent you to Canada.
What?
You were very little when they sent you to Canada.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Well, Dad had a brother up there, or was it a sister? There's a sister up there. I forget now, was it sister or brother?
He had a Aunt May in Toronto,
That was Aunt May, right.
the Ledermans, but now he worked for the railroad. Yeah. Now I don't know, about then, but I know they had children that were the same age as Bruce and Jack, and then there was another boy that was my age, and he was a railroad man. Dad had an aunt and uncle up there.
Huh?
Dad had an aunt and uncle up there that had a farm.
Well, that's them then.
Okay.
Yeah. I was going to say, I'm never clear on that because I thought they shipped me off to Uncle Hugh.
Well, that would be a brother.
Yeah. What I wasn't sure if they had the farm or somebody else in the family had the farm.
Okay, because Hugh was in England. He didn't live in Canada.
No.
But, I mean, he may have been in Canada then and then went back to England. But when I was growing up, he was in England. But I know Dad had an aunt and uncle in Canada because he went to see
The only
them.
thing I really remember, I didn't stay around long enough. They shipped me off the next day practically. His wife was a beautiful redhead. That's all I remember. That is the place where they shipped me to. I never did get to the farm.
Where'd you get to?
Well, I got to this place in Toronto, which I thought was Uncle Hugh, but maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But his wife is a redhead.
Aunt May, of course, was Daddy's sister, and she wasn't a redhead. Well, they could have been staying up there at the time. Who knows? They traveled around a whole lot.
Anyhow, that was in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
On the way up there, they shipped me by train. I went up by train, and I got as far as the Canadian border, and they put me off. Wouldn't let me go into Canada. I hadn't got the right papers or something. So they took me off at the border. That was on the Canadian side, not on the American side, on the Canadian side. And of course all my paraphernalia had a little radio set with me, and was it radio set? Yeah, and clothes and whatnot. And they gave me a ticket far back in the United States as from the border, in other words, from the border to Toronto.
The Canadians gave you a ticket?
Yeah.
Okay.
They gave me a ticket back to the United States that distance, which wasn't very far.
Okay.
So I got off the train with all my gear, I don't know if it was Buffalo I got off at, anyhow. I got off at the first stop I could get off at, Niagara, I guess it was. With all my gear. And, I went and rented a box or whatever. I don't think it was a box. I rented a space and put all my gear that I had. I rented a place for it anyhow. I didn't want to be carrying stuff. And I heard about this ferry boat went over to Toronto. I heard about it on the train or something like that. So I hung around till the very last trip over. Got a ticket for the ferry boat. I remember the guy says, "You're a little bit young to be traveling, ain't you, son?" So so I got on a ferry boat, which took me to the Canadian side. I must have had plenty of money with me. I don't remember. Anyhow, I got a taxi cab. They gave me the address I wanted to. I got this taxi cab to take me to Uncle Hugh's house, I thought. Maybe it wasn't, but anyhow. And of course, they almost died when they saw me at the front. They didn't expect me or anything.
Oh, boy.
Nobody expected me. Even the farmer's wife didn't expect me or anything.
Mm.
So, like I say, they put me back on the train, not that night, but the next day, as soon as they could. Well, first they called up, I don't know if they called up or what they did. They found out the farm I was going to, and they didn't expect me and know anything about it or anything else, so I guess I was there 2 days.
Mm.
I think they had a drive to the farm, I'm not sure now. So they, anyhow, they put me back on the train, shipped me off again. Oh yeah, and I lost the little radio.
You lost the radio?
Yeah.
Mm.
So anyhow, I got shipped back on the train again.
Well, where did the train come in? Pennsylvania Station or Grand Central, or how'd you get home?
I don't know, gee.
Sure.
I really don't know. I don't remember that part.
Now, I'm amazed they didn't call Canada or something and let them know you were, just to ship you off like that. It's just unbelievable.
I think they wrote letters, and the letter got lost.
June 20th, 1989. Frank, when you came back from Canada, what did you do? Did you go back to school or did you go to work?
I went to work.
You and Mother lived at a boarding house.
Yeah, Mrs. Beans.
And she met Dad there, right?
Yeah. He boarded there too, I guess. I imagine so. I don't rightly know. But from there we moved to 7th Avenue. 7th Avenue. Yeah, 7th Avenue and 7th Street we moved to.
Whereabouts is that?
That's South Brooklyn.
South Brooklyn. Okay.
we had the top floor of a cold water flat, he used to call it then. I know it used to be awful cold in the winter time, and Dad put one of these gas heaters in that log fires set in the wall, like,
Mm-hmm.
and then they had a dummy fireplace there. Remember that?
Well, was he living there with you?
No,
He just put it in.
yeah.
And you said, was he went back to sea?
Yeah, he made I don't know how many trips he went to sea anyhow. And he was sending Mother money, and she was saving it for him. And I found the money one day, and I treated all the kids in my class at Coney Island.
Oh boy.
Our mother found out, I believe, that somebody in the school complained to the teacher. The teacher, I guess, came to Mother. Want to know where I got all the money to treat the kids to school with. That's how she found out about it.
Can you remember them getting married?
No, I can't. That's a funny part of that. I can't remember them getting married. I don't know how they got married or where. I can't remember that for the life of me. I was only thinking about that the other day.
Mother had some pretty things, and a lot of them, she told me, were wedding gifts.
Oh, yeah?
So they must have gotten quite a few wedding gifts.
Huh.
I can't remember. It was on Dad's side of the family that a lot of the wedding gifts came from, and I can't remember who the people were. When did Dad leave the Cunard line? And what rank did he hold when he was sailing?
When Dad left the Cunard line?
Yeah.
Well, when did World War I start? 1918?
1914.
1914. Well, I guess he left the Cunard line around that, no? Yeah, I guess he no, couldn't have. I don't know when he left the Cunard line, but I know he was going back to sea, and he was running supplies like for the different nations who were in the war, like gases, and he often used to talk about that. That he wasn't in the war, but he's doing more dangerous work than anybody else was, because he's running these gases and stuff that they not troops, but the nations would need for building guns and stuff.
Or was he running out of New York to where, do you know?
I don't know, Jane. wasn't really, interested in that stuff. I was too young to be interested in it, really. All I know, he used to talk about, he used to run these gases and stuff on the different boats. He was chief engineer on them, I believe.
When you talk about gases, you mean like to gas people with, or?
Huh?
What do you mean by gases?
Gas is what they use in making, I don't know you call it bombs or what, but anyhow, stuff like that.
For ammunition? Okay.
I did know the name of it, but I can't remember it now.
Yeah.
Gases and acid too.
He,
Sulfuric acids.
when, he got off the ship one time, is it true that the MPs were waiting for him?
You know, that was quite a while afterwards.
Well, was he an American citizen at the time, or was he still an English citizen? I'm never clear about this,
I don't know.
because I never understood.
I guess he was an American citizen then. Yeah, he must have been an American citizen.
And then they put him in the Army.
Yeah.
That was pretty close to the end of the war, I think, because he got the flu.
Repairing typewriters.
Oh, boy. Well, I always understood also that he got the flu, which was rampant at the time, and it stopped him from going overseas. And the war ended. Stopped him from shipping over because he had the flu.
I never heard
And
that
the
one.
war was, by the time he recovered from the flu, the war was over.
I never heard that.
No.
No. Well, I know the MPs were looking for him and drafted into the Army. They put him down as a deserter because he didn't get in the Army. So he went in the Army and he went to Camp Upton.
That was on Long Island, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was repairing typewriters and stuff like that. Which to him was a godsend, because he was, I don't know how much money he was getting. I guess he wasn't getting as much as being in the Navy.
Well, he'd have been paid like a private, wouldn't he? Just like a
I guess so,
regular soldier. Okay. Mother told me he got the flu. He was real sick with the flu
I don't remember
when
that.
he was there. Okay. You said that he was on the United States lines?
Yeah.
When was this?
So we moved from 7th End and 7th Street. I think my mother got married about that time. And we moved to the Rugby, Flatbush. To Snyder Avenue and 53rd Street. Our number was 5302 Snyder Avenue. I remember that. And then I think Dad went back to see, I don't know if he went for 2 trips or 1 trip. Because those days, a trip to sea was about 14 days. In other words, he'd be away for 28 days. It was about 14, 15 days one way.
Now, this was still on liners, right? Like luxury liners.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
United States line, I imagine.
Okay.
And then, because Mother and I had nothing to live on but eggs and chicken. We had chicken coops. We had maybe, I don't know, 50 to 75 chickens I used to take care of.
Why didn't you have any money?
Money got tied up somehow or other. Don't ask me why. I don't know. I was too young to understand about money then. I don't. I went out and went house to house selling eggs, and I was killing chickens, and I'd pluck them, and Mother would clean them up.
And what, did you eat them or did you sell them? Or
Sell 'em.
The chickens?
Sure.
Did you have money?
Oh yeah. We opened a hardware store then.
Well, I mean, after these 2 trips, were those the last 2 trips he made?
I think so.
And you had money then?
I imagine so. We opened a hardware store, and you got our money to do that.
And where was the hardware store?
Utica Avenue, church.
Okay. And this is when you got sent to Canada?
Yeah,
Okay,
right after that.
yeah. And when you got back from Canada, you don't remember what you did?
What I did?
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked on the hardware store with Dad.
Okay. You didn't go back to school then, you went to work?
Yeah.
Okay. So what were you, 10, 11?
I think about 11, I guess, 10 or 11, yeah.
Okay. What'd you do in the hardware store?
Make deliveries, build counters, do odd jobs around the neighborhood.
When Mother and
I
Dad...
remember one time we were fixing a roof, and it was 2 stories and a half. With a flat roof. We just put paper on it and tarred it, the whole thing. And I was just ready to step off the roof onto the ladder when Dad pulls the ladder away. And a big pile of sand, so I jumped into the sand. Look, I didn't break anything.
My goodness. You were 13 when Bruce was born.
I don't know.
Well,
Could be.
there's 20 years between us.
Yeah.
So that would, there's 7.5 between Bruce and I, so that would put you at 13.
Mm-hmm.
Did you stay home and take care of Bruce, or how did you take care of Bruce?
Yeah, well, I worked in the store too and took care of Bruce, yeah.
Now, how did you do both?
I don't know how I did both. I just said, that's all to it. I didn't do it 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day. I mean, I got him up in the morning. He more or less dressed himself, I guess.
Okay, so he wasn't little tiny then?
Pardon?
He wasn't little tiny?
No.
If he got himself dressed,
No.
he was bigger.
No.
So that would have made
He
you
was-
older than 13 then.
He was about, I would say about 4 or 5 years old, I guess. Bruce was.
Okay. So Jack was here then. Well, Jack was on the way at any rate.
Yeah.
If he was 5. Where did you go to live when,
I can't remember when Bruce was born. I remember Jack was born in that, over the store on Utica Avenue. This is on Utica Avenue now, not Church Avenue.
Mhm.
The first store we had was on Church Avenue. The second store we had was on Utica Avenue, right around the corner. We built that store. Well, I can't remember exactly where. Bruce was born. I guess he was born in that store too. I don't think he was born on Snyder Avenue.
when Mother and Dad went to England and took Bruce and Jack with them, why didn't you go?
I want to see United States first.
And what did you do while they were in England?
Well, I worked for Mr. Young, who bought the store, and I worked for Hessian, who had a gas station repair shop.
And who did you live with?
I lived with Mr. Young.
Did you have a room or
Yeah.
had your own? Did you pay room and board, or was that
Yeah.
part of your salary?
No, just room.
Just room. What'd you do for meals?
In the restaurant, I guess.
And
Yeah, restaurant. John, fellow's name, cook. I used to work for him too. It was a corner restaurant. He was a Greek. Big heavy fella. I used to work in the restaurant there. Washing dishes. I was, what do you call it, showed how to cook there for a while.
when Mother and Dad came back to England, you moved back home?
Yeah, they had no home to move to though.
Okay, when Mother and Dad came back from England, then they moved to Hillside Avenue in Hollis, Long Island.
Yeah. I convinced Dad to open a hardware store. So between the two, was the money I had and the money he had, we opened this hardware store on Hillside Avenue.
Okay, I never knew that before. Okay, and you lived at home then?
Yeah.
Okay, and you worked in that hardware store? Okay.
And we moved to Hillside Avenue. We opened a hardware store. And then somewhere along the line, I just forget where it was, you were born.
That's where I was born,
Yeah.
on Hillside Avenue.
You were born over the hardware store.
And we were there, I don't know how long we were there for, a year or so. Then we moved, we did a very good business there. Dad and I we did odd jobs and stuff like that. And then we moved the hardware store to Jamaica Avenue. 189th Street, I think it was.
188-25.
Huh?
The address was 188-25.
188,
Uh-huh.
right on the corner. And anyhow, we just about got settled there, one thing or another. And that was the time the Depression came along. I don't remember what date it was, but people start losing their houses.
Mm-hmm.
On account of that, the business went bad. And then well, Dad and I, we had quite a fight. And he got over it, and I packed up and left, went back to Hollis, to Flatbush. And
To Utica Avenue?
Utica Avenue.
Rugby?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I went to work for Mr. Young, who Dad sold a store to. And between that, working there and working at the gas station on Linden Avenue and Linden and Utica. And then I think Uncle George lost his house. I don't know if he lost it or sold it. I don't remember that part of it. He had this store on Utica Avenue. There was two stores together there. He had one of the stores, and I moved in with him. And he also had a printing press, big printing press we put together down the cellar. And I got a job I started going with Ethel.
How'd you meet Ethel?
Oh, I don't know. She had a car, and she went off the driveway and got stuck in the mud. So somehow, I don't know, she got a hold of me anyhow. I went up there and jacked the car up and put it back on the cement and put it in the garage for her. So from then I started going with her. Then I got this job with this, see, what was the name of it? Was anyhow, they had a store on Utica Avenue. Took him within a whole block, another block deep, not wide, just deep. One right straight to, one deep. They did dry cleaning. They did dry cleaning. They had 2 stores, one on Nostrand Avenue. I don't really know I forgot what the other one was. So I got a job there. I used to take care of the dry cleaning machinery. They used to change the acid in it, I used to take care of the presses that press the clothes.
Well, didn't you drive a gasoline truck at one time?
Pardon?
Didn't you drive a gasoline truck at one time?
Gasoline truck?
Yeah.
That was later on. Okay. Yeah, I worked for Rand stores. I had charge of all the stores. I built quite a few stores, and I had charge of all the stores, and then I started to design the stores, and we took out all the front windows in the store and made great big window from. The whole store was in the store window like.
And how long did you work for them?
I think I worked for about 5 years for them or more. I can't remember that part. I don't know how long I worked.
About how old were you then?
How old was I?
In your early 20s?
No, it was about 28, somewhere around there.
How old were you when you got married?
I don't know.
How long were you married?
How long was I married?
Yeah.
13 years.
And how old were you when you got divorced?
Well, I married Gertrude about 1945.
No, you married later than that, I think.
Right?
I think you married later than that, because Kathy was born in 48.
I married Gertrude about 1948. Because we built the house in 1950.
Okay, that's 48 sounds right.
And I was divorced about 3 years before that.
Okay, so that would be 45
45 thereabouts.
that you got divorced.
I have that home all
Okay,
listed
and if
down.
you were married 45, if you had been married 13 years?
About 13 years, yeah.
Okay, so... Okay.
So anyhow,
What were you doing before you went into service?
that I have to think about.
Didn't you have a priority job? I always thought you had a priority job. You said you
I did.
joined up.
I did. Oh, I worked for the shipyards, Todd Erie Basin Shipyard.
Where was that?
I went from that store. The dry cleaning plant.
Okay, Rand.
Rand stores.
Mhm.
Yeah. From the Rand stores, I got a job in the shipyards.
Where were the shipyards?
Erie Basin.
And that's in Brooklyn?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I guess where I was with the shipyards there about 2 or 3 years, I think. And I had a couple of deferments. So finally I thought I'd enlist in the Army rather than wait till they called me again. So I enlisted in the Army and went in the Army Engineers.
How much training did you get?
1 week. Well, just to find out how to handle a gun, that's about all.
And then did you ship over in 1 week's time?
Yeah, about a week, maybe 2 weeks.
What was the name of the camp that you were stationed at?
Camp Gordon Johnson.
And where was that?
I think it was in South Carolina, I'm not sure.
What did you ship over on?
Queen Mary,
Out of what port?
New York.
So they shipped you back from South Carolina to New York
Mm-hmm.
to catch the Queen Mary to go over. Okay. Tell the story about your getting to eat in the pantry.
Well, I got on the Queen Mary, and I made friends with a stewardess, and I asked him, did they know anybody by the name of Ferguson on board? He didn't know any, but he knew Ferguson quite well because, I don't know, he started with him or something on some boats. So he said he'd fix me up with food, and he would come around and he'd put me in a closet. What do they call it? Not a closet.
A pantry?
Pardon?
A pantry?
A what?
A pantry?
A pantry, like, yeah. I have another name for it. I can't remember what it is now. And he would come around and put me in there with food, and sort of lock me in there. I had a key to it though, and every time I go around, I go in there and have breakfast. I only had one meal a day, Oh yeah, we used to have to stand up on counters out in the dining quarter, and the ship didn't have no escort to it. It went by on its own by itself, and it would zigzag back and forth to get away from the submarines, and if you didn't hold on to your food, it would skid down to the next guy, and a lot of the fellows were sick. They couldn't stand they got sick to the stomach, and brought some of their food up, and if you wasn't watching your step, they'd put it all over your plate.
Where did you land?
We landed in Scotland. I can't remember the name of the port. We were in Scotland anyhow, and they shipped us down to Wales.
What year was this?
What? We left New York on the Queen Mary Christmas Day, and we took about 3 days to get over there, I guess. I don't remember how long we get there. And we landed in Scotland, and I think it took us a day to get down to
Wales?
Wales, yeah, down to Wales. And from there we had some training in automatic arms and so forth and so on. And then I left a group of us, of 60 fellows, left for France.
Okay, on June the 7th,
D-Day, yeah,
1944.
right.
Okay. What kind of landing craft did you go in on?
I can think it was an LST. But I had a 4x4 truck with a welding machine hooked on behind it. And before we did that, we had to make the truck waterproof.
Would you drive the truck through the water?
Yeah. Had to stand up on the seat
And drive it?
and drive it.
What, did you have something to push the gas pedal down with or
Yeah.
something? Yeah. Boy. So they really came into shallow waters, didn't they, the LSTs? What, did you meet with gunfire on the beach, or
Yeah.
shelled, or?
Somewhat. Not so much gunfire, but artillery fire, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I saw LST blow up. Well, one job I had to go to Cassini to a German gunboat. They had to be hatched up, refloated, and then blown up again and way out in deep water.
And you say Messini, M-E-S-S?
Pardon?
What's the name of the place?
Cassini.
Assini, okay.
And after we got that fixed up, we went to, I can't remember the small town we went to. It was a railroad freight yard where they had railroad cars there and locomotives. And the Germans, when they left, they not blown up all the locomotives, but they put gunfire and did damage to them. So we had to weld the locomotives up and repair the steam lines and whatnot. And we got 2 locomotives to operate. And then we went and took some of the cars and got them operating so they could go to Lahore and load up with supplies for the troops and follow the troops. We didn't have the job of fixing the railroad tracks. Somebody else had that job. We just had to get the couple of railroad cars ready, like freight trains and the locomotives. And the next job we had to go to Lahore. By that time, the rest of the group came over. It was 250 men, I believe it was. We had to go back to Lahore and fix the docks and the locks to keep the water in while I unloaded the boats, because it's a deep water port. And we just about got started there. We had to pack up and go to Broge in Lahore, not in Lahore, in the Battle of the Bulge, they called it. Well, we just about got there when it was called off, so we had to turn around and go back to Lahore again.
Why was it called off?
Huh?
Why was it called off?
Well, the other troops had taken over. They threw the Germans, got the Germans out.
What's the story that, when you got blown off the bridge?
Oh yeah, that was after we got Lahore fixed up somewhat. We had to go and build bailey bridges to get the troops across these different canals they had. And after we got the bailey bridges in working order, we had to go up on the bridge, the cantilever bridges. I had to go up on the top of the bridge, which is quite high, and cut all the steel off it so it wouldn't fall on the troops going across, because when they went across they would make the bridge shake from marching, and of course steel would drop off the bridge. So I went up on the bridge to cut the steel off of it. Now while I'm up there, the Germans start shooting 88s over. And one of the 88s, it hit the bridge, a glancing blow, not head on, but a glancing bridge, enough to shake it. And I had a helper with me, because I had goggles on and shield on me, and I couldn't see what was going on, so he was supposed to come and tap me on the shoulder, and we both go down the foxhole. So anyhow, this 88 came over and shook the bridge and knocked me off. I fell in the water, and of course I had this cable kind of wrapped around me. It's more or less saved me from drowning.
That's right, you can't swim.
I can't swim now. And from there, I got in a foxhole, got out of the way, and I stayed there for a while.
Where were you when the war was over, when it ended?
Well, I stayed over until the war was over. I was in... We went back to Lahore when everything was finished and made our headquarters there.
And was that where you were when it ended? Was there a lot of celebrating?
Pardon?
Was there a lot of celebrating?
No.
No?
Not really.
And then, did you come back to the United States by ship?
Yeah. It took us 14 days to get back. We came back by United Fruit Company boats.
Ethel's boats.
Yeah. I was going to say coaches. Ethel, I don't know how she would. She knew I was on that boat and she followed me all the way back.
For goodness sakes. Would you land in where then?
New York. On the United Fruit Company pier. I don't know what pier it was, but... And from there they put us on the railroad and shipped us off to someplace, North Carolina or South Carolina. I don't know which it was now. I can't remember what it was. And I was there maybe a week, and I landed in the hospital. I had double pneumonia, and I was in the officers' quarters. I got treated royally.
And how
I was
long?
Staff sergeant.
You made staff sergeant while in the service, right? That's good. Where did you get discharged? Down in the South?
Yeah.
And what, you just got on a train then and went home?
Pardon?
Then you just got on a train and went home?
Yeah, right.
Do you remember seeing Bruce and Jack for the first
No.
time?
No,
You don't remember that at all?
no.
Then what did you do? Where did you go to work then?
Well, I found out that Ethel was having an affair, of course, and I went to work for a friend of mine, Mr. Berry. He was an electrician, and his son his son was in charge of, they did a lot of new work in New York, and they did the work in buildings which was concrete buildings. So we did all the wire was hid in concrete and conduit. So we had a bend pipe and thread pipe and all like that. And I did most of all that for Berry. And then Berry understood I could do welding, so he asked me that I design a furnace
and build it for him. So I did. He got all the material for me, and I built a furnace for him. Designed a furnace and a furnace for hot water. And then I just got fed up with everything and took off to the bungalow out in Long Island. I couldn't stand it anymore.
Then what did you do out there?
Well, I bummed around for a while, doing nothing, and I finally got a job, a plumber in Ronkonkoma, as advertised, and I got a job with him as a plumber. And I didn't know the first thing about plumbing. So I got a job with him anyhow, and I was there for about 6 or 8 months, and I went in partners with him. And I put a mortgage on the bungalow, which I didn't know I could do, but I did it. And I got $2,500 out of that, and I went in partners with him. In about 6 months, he left town.
Oh dear.
So, left me with a business.
And isn't that how you met Gertrude? You did some work for her father?
What?
Isn't that how you met Gertrude?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I met Gertrude more or less through her father. He wanted a hot air system. First, her mother, her hands got burnt. She was making preserves, jelly or something, and she was heating wax to put on the top of the jars, and it boiled over or something, so she threw water on it or something, make it flare up, and got her hands all burnt from it. So, Bruce, he was in partners with me then. He went in partners with me, and he learned that Mr. Thiem wanted a gas stove, and we happened to be in the gas business too. So we sold him a stove, and I forget if we sold him a stove or not. Anyhow, I gave him bottled gas, and I found out he wanted a hot air system, so I gave him a price and installed a hot air system. I keep on telling everybody that I had to get the hot air system to marry the daughter. And I got that wrong. I married the... Well, anyhow.
And you got married in about 1948. You got, where'd you get married?
No, 1948. I guess so, 48, 49, yeah, somewhere there.
I was in New York at the time,
Yeah.
and I went back to Texas after Christmas.
We got married in a little church in Hollis.
Was it in Hollis?
Mm.
Okay, I didn't
I
think.
guess
was thinking
Jamaica. Jamaica, I guess it was.
I was thinking it was
Yeah,
the
Jamaica.
town after Hollis. I'm not. It was Jamaica.
Jamaica.
I remember
That's
going
where
out
the
to
parents
their,
lived.
okay. I remember going out to their home.
Yeah.
Then you built the house on Long Island.
Pardon?
You built that lovely home on
Yeah.
Long Island.
Yeah.
And then, how many years did you live there?
About 20 years, I guess.
About 20. And then moved up to Napanoch.
Not gonna.